The humans believe they have finally cornered the goblin army, so their commander orders every warrior to hold the monsters in place for one final attack. Red power explodes around the strongest fighter as he prepares the technique that has ended countless battles before this one. He brings his hands together and invokes the war god's finishing strike, pouring everything he has into a single decisive blow. The sky turns crimson when an enormous fist appears above the battlefield, descending toward the goblin group with nowhere left to run. Knowing his companions cannot escape in time, the beast-like goblin commands everyone to hide behind him while he becomes their shield. The bone dragon lowers its head and braces for impact, but even its giant frame begins trembling under the unbearable pressure. The red fist finally crashes down, producing an explosion so violent that the humans immediately assume every monster beneath it has been destroyed. Yet the dark-haired goblin remains focused near the impact zone, studying the attack instead of surrendering to fear. The human warrior drives more power downward, refusing to stop until the entire target area has been reduced to a crater. Behind him, a crimson magic formation activates and feeds additional energy into the technique, making the supposed final strike even more destructive. At the last possible second, a huge circular barrier intercepts the attack, forcing red energy to spread across its surface. The commander continues hammering the defense until cracks race through it, convinced the goblins have only delayed their deaths. The barrier collapses in a blinding shockwave, blasting monsters and warriors away while dust completely hides the result. When visibility returns, the battlefield is filled with fallen bodies, but two goblin figures remain upright among the destruction. A broken shield fragment lies inside the crater, convincing the nearby humans that the defenders have lost their only protection. Two armored soldiers move closer to confirm the kill, unaware that approaching the wreckage is exactly what the goblins need. One of them surrounds himself with blue energy and accelerates, determined to strike before the wounded enemies can react. He crashes into the crater at full speed, directing all his strength toward the point where the goblin leader disappeared. Stone and dust erupt into the air, and the soldiers outside the crater begin celebrating before seeing the actual result. The blue warrior continues his assault with a powerful downward punch, trying to crush anything that may still be moving beneath him. A second attacker follows with a weapon thrust, ensuring the trapped goblin must face two killing moves at the same time. The first warrior smiles confidently, believing that speed, teamwork, and superior armor have made resistance impossible. Then a black streak cuts past him, striking so quickly that his eyes cannot even track the attacker's movement. He turns in disbelief and discovers the goblin is no longer inside their encirclement, making their perfect formation suddenly useless. The blonde swordsman reacts instantly, swinging his massive blade toward the moving shadow before another soldier can be attacked. But the goblin appears beside the rising bone dragon, proving both of them survived the humans' supposedly unstoppable finishing attack. With his fangs exposed, the goblin releases a furious roar that freezes the nearby soldiers and signals the beginning of his counterattack. The human fighters rush together, hoping that surrounding him with several simultaneous attacks can compensate for his superior speed. Instead, he melts into green-black shadow energy and passes beneath their defenses before the first weapon can touch him. His enhanced shadow assault removes the usual recoil, allowing him to maintain full speed while chaining one attack into the next. The nearest armored fighter is launched away, and the remaining soldiers realize that their formation is being dismantled from inside. The undead beast advances behind the goblin, using its claws and terrifying presence to prevent anyone from escaping the counterattack. Dark green energy surges across the battlefield like a tidal wave, smashing through the human line and tearing apart their remaining confidence. Two armored warriors survive the blast, but the empty ground around them shows that most of their companions have already been defeated. Their commander screams that the goblin must die, furious that an opponent he dismissed has endured every technique thrown at him. Then he notices the goblin moving again inside the crater, his damaged body surrounded by a growing layer of purple power. The commander draws his weapon and charges recklessly, determined to kill the wounded enemy before that mysterious energy can fully awaken. Orange symbols ignite beneath him without warning, exposing a hidden magic formation that had been waiting for someone to enter its center. The human spellcaster orders Gilbert and his partner to restrain the other goblins, while he prepares to eliminate the dangerous domain user himself. The goblin quietly smiles at their plan, because the humans still do not understand who has been controlling the flow of this battle. Green pillars burst from the earth and bend around the humans, forming a living prison before their front line can withdraw. The binding technique closes like a predator's jaws, trapping the soldiers and cutting off the spellcaster from immediate support. The goblin uses that opening to launch himself forward, purple energy spiraling around his claws as he targets the vulnerable mage. Suddenly, an enormous spectral skeleton appears in violet flames above the caster, revealing a hidden guardian that could reverse the entire battle.